So let's look at the emotional impact of hair loss in an Instagram world. I think it was bad enough prior to the social media world. But we live in times really now where what is portrayed as truth is obviously very different to the reality in our social media world in which we live. And in fact, the word of the year for the Oxford Dictionary in 2013 was selfie. I wonder what it would be in 2020. Probably be less glamorous, something like social distancing. But before we look at the impact of hair loss, let's look at some of the functions that hair has on the scalp. Well, it protects us from the sun. It can cushion those bumps and bashes that we get, avoid cuts and scratches, and it can assist the scalp in sweating. But of course, the reason that people go for consultations and treatment and surgery, you guessed it, is for those aesthetic benefits that it brings. So hair loss is a problem that's unfortunately very visible. When you meet someone for the first time from a distance, you will notice their hair, and as you get closer, you will notice their facial features. So it's a very visible problem. I've never met a person that didn't have a problem in their life. Some people have problems that are very hidden and not evident. Hair loss is very visible. And as Sam Shoemaker said, everybody has a problem, is a problem, or has to live with a problem. And you can take that third part any way that you want. So we live in this very manufactured world of post-Instagram and social media where everyone has to be beautiful, buff, have loads of money, wealth, happiness, well-being, success, etc. And for men, it makes us feel we need to have the bodies of a Greek god and the minds of a Greek philosopher. And so we see for today, hair loss is a real issue, even for social status today. And the portrayal is very different to reality of what we really are as human beings. But even historically, even for the famous, hair loss has been a problem. And who was a bigger influence than Julius Caesar? I mean, even his name became used for the month of July. How cool is that? But he was a man of great confidence, of great skill, of great intellect. Yet he had an emotional weakness, an emotional suffering that was linked to hair loss, that he would comb his hair over and wear the laurel leaves to try to disguise his hair loss. So really nothing really has changed, even in 2,000 years. And we see that the society whereby we find ourselves today also has this whole fixation with hair, that the hero has the luxury hair. James Bond was always with a nice hair. Apart from only one, James Bond was bald and he wore a hair system. And the criminal was obviously the one with the scar and the less physically attractive. Imagine if James Bond were to have no hair just for one film. If we could click our fingers and change that and make the criminal a little bit more attractive, maybe we would do. But we see that the implications of hair loss are a lack of confidence, self-esteem issues, depression, isolation, and avoidance techniques. It's far deeper than just having hair. It actually does really affect the quality of life. And in my years, 11, 12 years in this industry, I have spoken to many patients who isolate, avoiding weddings, avoiding anniversaries, birthday parties, or events purely because they don't wish to expose themselves to the ridicule or to the anxiety that their hair loss gives them. And hair loss, of course, can bring depression. That has been very well documented by medical boards and also by Joe Public. We can see in forums. Here's an example: the depression caused by hair loss is eroding my will to live. And I've spoken to many patients who go through an anxiety, depression, and it even reaches to the newspapers. Being bald can have a severe impact on mental health. One positive side of today's world is that through communication and through more openness today, people are able to share and try to seek advice, whereby in the past it was much more of a taboo subject. And of course, it's costly financially and emotionally. And again, I've known people who have given up very good careers that they've studied for, they're graduated for, and they've given up their work, very good work, to then find a menial job whereby they can wear baseball caps and hats to cover their hair loss. And emotionally, it takes its toll, even on relationships. Again, due to the embarrassment of hair loss, I've known of people just really living alone without relationships as well. So quality of life is there. It changes you physically And also emotionally, much more than framing the face. Our hair can be our signature tune. We express ourselves with our hair. Our religion could be shown with our hair. The style of music we like, the type of person is there. And not only does it change you physically, it changes all those emotions. You see, our emotions affect the body, but our body certainly affects our emotions. And imagine the world famous George Clooney without his hair. He would be a different person for sure. And some say they feel defined by hair loss rather than being a husband or a son or a father or a brother or a worker. They become defined by the bald guy or the guy with a hair loss. So there can be a real loss of identity, an identity crisis that goes into identity theft. The very identity they were born with and grew up with erodes and goes away. And so identity theft isn't only an online phenomenon, but it's actually something that happens to people who lose their identity to hair loss, and they feel imprisoned by that. But there's hope, because today we have options that even the most powerful man 2,000 years ago didn't have in Julius Caesar. So there's hope today. Today we have medication or other approaches for hair loss. There are other treatments that people can seek out, and also surgery for some may be an option even for advanced hair loss. So we'd like to welcome you. If you'd like to have an assessment for your case with Dr. Bisanga, then please contact us. We'd be very happy to book a consultation and give you the best protocol and approach for your hair loss. If you've liked this video, then please feel free to like it, subscribe to our channel, and share it to anybody who may benefit from it. Thank you ever so much, and stay safe in these times.